Welcome to Podtendo, a Nintendo podcast, where they analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games.
In the tradition of Final Fantasy comes a role-playing adventure game which encompasses the future of the entire universe. You are Chrono, chosen by the spirits to save the world from ultimate devastation. If you don't restore the order of time, the entire future of mankind is doomed. To do this, you must change the course of history using different weapons and items to defeat strange enemies and foes which you encounter on your quest. But be careful. Any changes you make to the past ripple forward and affect the future. In fact, there are 10 different possible endings. This 32-meg adventure offers cool Mode 7 special effects, 6 different characters, and battery backup to save your progress.
Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games. We contacted on YouTube or Gmail. Or email. Podtendo@gmail.com is the email you can get to us at. I'm your co-host, Mick, and I'm joined every episode by my lovely and talented co-host,
Tyson.
Cool. And that is the intro. Well, it's not word for word. I did actually have it on top of the Word document. I could have read that. That you guys have been listening to if you've listened to us for the last 9 years. Huh. Cool.
Something like that.
Something like that. So yeah, as you guys are seeing, this is episode 150. So kind of a big deal, which we're going to take some time. We're playing a big game. We're going to break it into 2 parts. Today's show is probably going to be nitty gritty. Maybe like the first 2/3 of this experience, focus more on the game. And then when we're back, maybe a month's time or so like that, we'll do a part 2 of this show. We'll wrap up Chrono Trigger, talk about kind of the endings, what it brought to the industry, some of the landmark achievements that this game made, and then do like a big 150 episode retrospective. We're probably going to do that like next time. So today you're here. We're just in Chrono Trigger. But at some point we probably should acknowledge that we've been doing this for a while.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We kind of got a big one. We're replaying it, so we're cheating, or we're replaying it and we're not cheating. Yeah, it's a fun one. We said go back. There was like kind of that semi-announcement of the anniversary that we joked about at the start of the year. So now we're playing it. Yeah, it's a good one. It's like one of those games that I feel like, I don't know, we didn't grow up with this game. Do we? You know what? I'll save all my ramblings till later on.
Yeah, because we kind of get to those points. This was an early game that we needed to get to, right? Probably dove into it a little bit more, and you'll see as I kind of go through the notes. Our show is still developing. Obviously, our first time through it was kind of just more of a get through it, read, walk through. I don't know. I didn't go back and listen to our first. Maybe I'll do that before our next show. So listen to our first Chrono Trigger shows, right? So probably a little more dry. We obviously have different takes, maybe a little bit more entertaining at this point. And in history of our show, every kind of big show anniversary, we replay something from the past that we've wanted to kind of go back and give it a second coat of paint, right? Episode 50, I know, was Zelda 1, Zelda 2. Right, so going back and looking at kind of those NES classics. Episode 100, I do believe we did Super Mario World a second time, right? So I kind of got that early on in like the first 10 shows, and I was like, let's come back around, hit all the Marios again, right before up into 100, and then obviously with 150, we had to pick a big game, something kind of monumental, right? And what better way to kind of dive into it than this beloved, oh baby, like I don't know. The most loved game. In all my research, all my videos, all my kind of essays, I've been kind of looking into, reading into Chrono Trigger. This game is just, everyone praises it. They say it's the best game ever, right? And we're going to look back at it, replay it, give you a kind of fresh coat of eyes, and tell you, does it hold up? I don't know. Is it the best game ever? What are the flaws? What are the flaws of this terrible, terrible game?
Good question. Let's always start with the flaws when praising a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't you tell us more of the details?
Okay. Okay, sweet. You don't want to say anything off the top?
I'll save it.
Okay.
I'll save it. Because,
Right.
I mean,
you're just like
ramble.
waiting to like get to a section. You're just like, I want to tell you that first. Okay, so cool. So diving into it, because Tyson just can't wait. He can't do it. He's like, guys, 150 shows, 149 shows under the belt. Oh, that's way more shows, because we did so many side. Let's not get into it. 150 official. That's kind of how we break this up. So the name of this game is Chrono Trigger. Release date was August 21st, 1995 on the Super Nintendo. On the PSX or the PS1 was June 29th, 2000, and the DS had a release from November 25th, 5th, 2008. How Long to Beat has this game at 23 hours. Currently on eBay, a copy of this game, if you want that Super Nintendo cartridge, $314. Wow.
Jeez, and how much are repros going for these days?
Oh, I know. I was looking. I was like, I might just be spend $40 and just get a repo cart and throw it on the shelf next to Final Fantasy 6 and Super Metroid. Is that the one I have? Earthbound,
Or
maybe?
Earthbound. I want
Yeah.
to say Earthbound because Earthbound's like those RPGs.
That was like
they
the
cost a pretty penny.
the holy trinity, right? I remember when I first kind of started getting into retro gaming years ago, right? Maybe before the podcast, and looking at this, and I remember hearing like Chrono Trigger. It's like $100 now to own this cart. Man, could have 3 extra money. Damn it.
All these years later,
Yeah.
have a asset that appreciates, but you're never going to sell. So
Yeah, that's true. It's probably not
I
the
got
best.
a trunk full of them.
Well, it's funny how life works too, because I remember like it's like $100. How could anyone ever spend $100 on a video game? And now I'm looking at like the 314, and I'm like, I just put it into the Visa, I'll pay it off in a month. I'll not even like really notice it. It's fine. How life changes is fun. eShop price. I don't know if the PSN exists anymore, so I don't know if you can buy this game. I think you might just have to be a pirate. Arr.
Yeah, and I was like, also like, this was one of the games missing from this NES Mini, which was like, now I remember why this like cartridge was like, this is awesome, but it's missing something. So yeah, just you do what you got to do.
Sure.
Get to playing this game, because honestly, I'm like, and that's why I'm really thinking that this. I thought that there was going to be an announcement for like a remaster of this game or something. Maybe they're going to start it finally, but it's like kind of late, guys. Like 25 odd years later. It's like, yeah, it's like,
well, I mean, like all I have to do is just literally put it
30.
on a disc, press print disc, available in store, and people will spend $20 on this. You don't have to do anything. Just release it, right? So, anyways,
even if it is an emulated version, it's like other people have done that. Just save yourself the time and money. Just do like make it work. Come on.
it is weird that like for an anniversary they wouldn't have something pop out, right? Obviously, their schedule is just like ours. We're like, oh, it happened 2 months ago. Damn. Well, we were close. The development details of this fun game, though. It was conceived in 1992 by Hironobu Sadaguchi, producer and creator of Final Fantasy, Yui Horii, the director and creator of the Dragon Quest series, and Akira Toriyama, the creator of the Dragon Ball comics. 50 to 60 developers were put onto this project. An uncredited Square employee suggested a time travel themed game, but this idea was originally shrugged off. Originally, they were going to release the game on the Super Famicom disk drive. When that was canceled, they repackaged it for the Super Nintendo and rebranded it as Chrono Trigger. A lot of big names worked on this game, and rather than bore everyone, including us, by reading them out and trying to piece together where everyone worked, check out Wikipedia if you were interested. What an asshole comment.
Yeah. Well, just try to save you time and money.
Yeah, it's like, what else? You guys are listening? What? It's a minute. Come on. All right. Mataso Kato. Oh, I see. I also probably can't read the names. Okay. The director then edited and completed the outline by writing the majority of the game's story. He tried to avoid a long string of errands such as do this, take that, and defeat these monsters. The end of time segment was added to help with the game's perceived difficulty. Early playtesters complained that the game was too hard and difficult to follow. The multiple timelines made the game had to fix bugs, since fixing bugs in one timeline would affect some locations in other areas. The PlayStation and DS has cutscenes added to the game. Neat.
Yes. Well, I thought it was like, it's funny because when I think of this game, I think of time travel mechanic. It seems like such a fundamental part of the game. It's like interesting to know that like they just kind of shrugged it off. But
yeah.
And one other thing, it's like the director did a really good job, because yes, it's a little bit like cryptic, and we're blessed with walkthroughs, but I feel like people tell you certain things. There's there's some like massive gaps or leaps, and you're like, how'd you ever figure this out? I have no idea. But for the most part, like, it's pretty quick. Like in a Final Fantasy game, you feel like you're like grinding and having to work your way through this long, arduous dungeon. This game, like, it doesn't feel like there's dungeons. There's just kind of neat areas to explore, and before you know it, you're kind of on to the next area and on to the next area. It's like,
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like there's
in terms of just
super minimal like backtracking, which I
yeah.
appreciate.
Like Tyson's just saying, like overall kind of gameplay as you get into it, there is some conveyance issues. There's a couple times where I'm like, what the hell? Like I have to look at the walkthrough again. I just put my phone down and I walked 2 screens. Like what happened? But ultimately, yeah, like Tyson, in the grand scheme of things, there's no random battles. Moving around the world's pretty fast. It's not that arduous. Yeah, maybe you have to fight 6 guys, to move from one time period all the way across to another area, and like get past the time portal into the castle, in the ancient back times. But it's pretty fast, and once you learn, you can kind of run around enemies on the open world map too. Like you'll be, I barely have any battles, right? So, in theory, you're playing this game for a long period of time, multiple 40, 30, 40 hours, right? So maybe that was kind of built in, just a mechanic, right? They'll make this big open world, we'll have lots of exploration, people are going to want to kind of check it out. And it's also very rewarding. I don't know if like you talk to a lot of the NPCs, but as you travel around time periods and jump back and forth through the past and affect, an NPC in the distant past and travel to the future, their like relatives will be better off, or a change of mind or a change of heart, right? So it's extremely interactive and rewarding to kind of get to know and interact and like meet everyone. So the fact they created that fun world, I think just kind of leads with the exploring. There's a big world, go have fun. You'll always find something neat or interesting or a storyline that you're like, oh my gosh, I wonder if that ties into like this character in the future in that same house, right? So I don't know, I think those are all kind of cool, interesting mechanics. And yeah, like time, it's also one of the RPGs now, it seems a little bit more, I don't know, commonplace. Time travel, different time periods, steampunk, right? But this was again one of the first RPGs that went from the high fantasy with the kings to now you're fighting robots in the future, and there's dystopian, and there's like a nuclear fallout war. Oh, neat.
Yeah, and I mean, like, for the time, super fresh and new, but it's also I don't know. I thought it nails a lot of its themes, and I'm always super fascinated with the different areas you kind of get a visit, and I never mind just ripping around this game. And listen to the soundtrack, which is also stellar.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I get such crazy Final Fantasy VII vibes over it, and just like, man, if you kind of change the tempo or the rhythm of this part a little bit, it's like, am I listening to Final Fantasy VII before Final Fantasy VII? It's weird. It's like, I don't know if the composers are the same. Meant to look it up, didn't. But it was like, there's just a couple themes, and it's like,
well,
this
it is
sounds
square,
like the
so
yeah. I'm sure they just, hey, here's some MIDI files, just enjoy, tweak them slightly.
Well, it's like all the artwork looks just kind of like future Dragon Quest games, right? So they kind of adapted that. Final Fantasy took some of the themes and sounds essentially, right, and kind of worked them into their narrative. So,
yep,
yeah, cool.
Yeah. But if you haven't played it, the last chance, go pause it and go play it. Come back.
We're gonna spoil everything after we talk about the controls. So we have basic exploration controls. Chrono is easily disappointed if you try to do something you aren't allowed to do. The map system is very intuitive. Yeah. The menu and the DS ports are super helpful. Being able to see which equipment is better. Equipping and selling in one shop doesn't seem like much, but it does make all the difference in the world. The fluid combat mechanics makes this game a delight. Each character seems to have pros and cons, and being able to add their skills together to get different effects are very neat. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know the progression of how these controls kind of came about, or what I like, and turn-based styles were like, going through their own evolution, as it were.
Final Fantasy... Which Final Fantasy? Final Fantasy IV, I think, was the first time to have a real-time battle system. So they introduced that system. And yeah, this just kind of tweaks it. And what, based on your attacks, you kind of have like area effect attacks, and it's a dynamic battlefield. So the enemies will move around in certain patterns, and if you kind of wait and watch, and instead of just mashing A, sometimes you'll be able to land an attack that deals everyone, right? It's all of a sudden you're attacking 4 of the 5 enemies and knocking them all out with that one big blow, rather than had you waited, or done it 2 seconds earlier, you would have got one of them. So it's just kind of definitely a more interesting, interactive, and it kind of makes the battles go by a little quicker too, right? And knowing that it's more of a strategy game than it is like a grindy RPG.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. Especially because the some of the boss battles will like have you make sure that you pay attention and you read, because if you read and pay attention, you're like you can almost beat some bosses without any damage, or if you just like pay attention to like their whole mechanic, you're like, oh, this is actually like kind of nice. It feels like if you just like engage your brain for a minute, you're like, oh, this is actually like this is what an actual like strategy final like a RPG should do. And I never like felt like I got like that from not many Final Fantasy games. I can't remember off the top of my head, because it's like it's a great point.
Well, and it's just like if you look back at the games that came out at this point, right? We are probably on the tails of like Earthbound being out, Final Fantasy VI probably was out, as well as what was the other title? Like Secret of Mana. Those ones are kind of always mentioned about as like the elite. And you think of how just like terrible the battle system and how it's kind of like an awkward, like you're kind of Link, but you're kind of in battles. And it's just done so terribly, right? So I think looking at kind of Secret of Mana trying to reinvent the wheel, create kind of more of a dynamic, fluid system, and you're like cycling through your weapons, and you have chains and whips and bows, and it's just such a clean, or it's such a messy kind of unapproachable system. Whereas versus this system, you get it right away, you pick up, you learn techniques, you learn times, you learn your strategy. I don't know, it's just it's definitely a lot cleaner, and it's nice, and I think it's just that approachability and is why I wanted to get back into it and talk about that, right? Playing this game isn't a pain in the ass. And I'd find when I would start playing this game, I'd play for like 4 or 5 hours at a row.
Yeah, you can just sink your teeth right into the game, because like I don't know, it's also not some people probably argue a little more of a simple like combat system, because it's like attack, magic, and techniques, and that's about it.
Sure.
And the techniques are either like deal damage, singular, AOE, and then like maybe some heals. You know, like it's kind of
basic, sure.
Kind of it's kind of basic, but at the same time, it's like it's easy to wrap your head around. So they can kind of get creative with like the bosses. And that's one thing that I was like, oh, I don't remember like any of the bosses. Maybe they were just terrible. It's like, no, I think the bosses are actually a really like standout moment in these games, and they're like they kind of crescendo every like area where like run through some easier some easier characters, and they just get like, here's a step more difficult, and then before you know it, you're at the boss, and you're like, it feels very rewarding. Uses those like most mechanics like super sparingly, and it's just like feels like a tight run through. Like if you know what you're doing, this game doesn't take any time at all. So
no, that's some of the things where people are like, oh, it's so short. Like I beat it in 15 hours, and I'm 11 hours in, and I'm like, God, I got a lot of sections to go through. I can't imagine in 4 hours I'll wrap this all up. So I might be a little slower, but I do think I took a little bit more time at the beginning, and I just can't help myself. If I see some armor at a shop, I'm like, man, I better go get 200 gold so I can buy the hat. I love hats. And then I'm just like super overpowered at one point, and I was like, I didn't learn any of the basic mechanics from this game because I was so overpowered because I was buying hats for everyone. So yeah.
Well, and also like you kind of don't want to always do that. Like the game has an optional boss. Forget what the heck the thing's name in the time vortex area.
Oh yeah.
Forget that thing's name is that teaches you magic or whatever.
It's like a blue station from Bill and Ted's Bogus Adventure.
Yeah. Exactly. good reference. And it's like, but as you progressively get more difficult, like he'll evolve and do new forms. So it's like, as long as but that's such like a minute like max or min maxing, I guess is what people call it. It's like, just play the game. This game's not hard. Just have fun with it.
Yeah, I know.
And get the ending that is kind of like suited to what you did, not because you got a checklist to do shit.
Sure. Yeah. Super. Yeah. And like Tyson alluded to, I think at our next show, we'll talk, I think there's 14 different endings. So we'll probably dive through kind of how each ending plays out, what the effects are. Not today though. Today we just got to get into the game proper. And as you kind of noticed, maybe the flow of the show is a little different. These are actually notes that I wrote way back. So I could pull up the year, but oh boy, they're probably 7-8 years old. So I'm laughing when I'm calling myself a jerk or something like that. It's because I wrote these a long time ago and I'm making fun of myself. Just like this next section, first memories. And you're like, man, it's weird that we haven't had like a Wayback Machine. I don't think it existed. I think this is literally the birth of the Wayback Machine. So listen as I read this. I first heard of this game as a prequel to Chrono Cross, which was a title a friend of mine had. This was the first playthrough. I don't know why I missed it as a child. So obviously, heard about it on multiple top 10 lists. So what happened when this game was released? Why wasn't I into this title earlier? And then I list a bunch of stuff. So movies. Movies released in August of 1995. We have The Usual Suspects, Mortal Kombat, Babe, A Kid in King Arthur's Court. Oh, that was it.
Yeah. I think you just grabbed the best 3.
No, I think that's what was released.
No, 4. Yeah. Okay.
Or just ones I heard of, kind of, right? Okay. I was like, yeah, I'll be honest with you. Usual Suspects wasn't on my radar. Maybe Babe?
Yeah, I feel like Babe was the thing. We were probably around that age where it's like, it's got a talking pig. This is cute.
I guess I'm 8, so like not being into a hard-to-read RPG. That's probably why. I probably couldn't read. Okay, neat. Stupid kids. Unlike Tyson, as a 6-year-old, could read like Dostoevsky. Music that was released in August of 1995 was Seal's Kiss from a Rose. We have Boom 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 by Out There Brothers and Never Forget by Take That.
Huh.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember Kiss from a Rose. This Batman must have came out this year.
Probably. Yeah. Okay. Or like 95. I don't know. When was Batman Forever? Forever. Because I know, 95. So this summer I didn't have time to buy a video game. I was buying too many of those Pogs from McDonald's.
No, we were buying the mugs from Pizza Hut.
No, I think Batman Forever was at McDonald's because there was Pogs or something, and Mom and Dad did a roof, and we got paid something like 5 cents for every nail that we collected. We were running around collecting rusty nails off the ground, and we got paid 5 cents.
Yeah, they probably did a roof. No, but there is a McDonald's Batman Forever drink set.
Yeah, McDonald's.
Okay, yeah. But there was a drink set. I remember that.
Yeah. I'm not going to discredit there was a drink set. I'm just telling you it was at McDonald's, not Pizza Hut.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. Let's see. Top TV shows are released in 1995. We have Star Trek Voyager, WCW Monday Night Nitro, Earthworm Jim, Freakazoid, Pinky and the Brain, Sailor Moon, The Drew Carey Show, Mad TV, and Goosebumps.
Dang, this is a bunch of bangers right here. It's like this is a solid chunk of TV if you were growing up. Because we watched most of these. I feel like I just never. That's not true. I watched a lot of Voyager when I lived in my first year of university. That was like one of the shows. Were like, well, Star Trek. Just put it on.
Yeah, Star Trek was weirdly if there was a Saturday afternoon, you're just laying around watching TV. It was always Voyager. Seemed like more than Deep Space Nine.
Yeah,
definitely watched a lot of those. And then I'd find like a TNG some nights, and you'd be like, man, that was so much better than Voyager. Like there was like. Deep thoughts. It was a cool concept. It was like written well.
It didn't feel like a cheesy, crappy drama-based TV show.
It seemed like it wasn't worthless. It's good. Other games released in 1995. We got Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Kong Quest, Yoshi's Island, Rayman for the PSX, Mega Man 3 or X3, Kirby's Adventure in Dreamland 2, Dragon Quest 4, Clock Tower, Castlevania, Dracula X. Did this do anything to jog your nostalgia? Huh.
Yeah, sure did. I remembered a lot of this stuff.
Pretty cool, right? Look at that. Birth of one of our segments.
Yep. I seemed like, I don't know, I feel like this was, I only remembered this like game as like the game that has multiple endings and time travel. That's like all I remember is like, then obviously, YouTube came along, you could do research on something that is the hazy memory that I have for this game.
I mean, realistically, going back and thinking about myself at that time, probably wasn't reading a lot. This game you have to read a lot, so I don't think I played a lot of games you have to read, right? It probably wasn't until next couple years I'd get into like a Final Fantasy VII where you're diving through and parsing through that, and then at that point this game was rare, probably inaccessible, and just if it didn't fall into your lap or you knew somebody or something like that, you probably just weren't going to play it, right? So ultimately that's kind of what it boils down to. I don't think it's any like great mystery of like, why is this game not in my life? When I couldn't read.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. I specifically remember there being at the time like, oh, this game has a lot of words.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna play something else.
Think of like how much of a struggle playing Final Fantasy IV was on the Super Nintendo when you got to the Mist Dragon, because you'd always just attack it because you couldn't read defend. You didn't know what that meant, right? Like that's probably why we're not into this, but we're into it now, so pretty neat. And we're both gonna have some pretty sweet repo carts on our shelves soon because we're that cool.
Yeah. Well, it's a game that you're like, if it works, you put it into a console. I'm happy.
Cool. All right. So now we got a bunch of text. I don't know if we need to read through everything, but I think I will. That sounds awesome. But maybe I'll read a big chunk and then we could talk about a couple parts here. So the story of Chrono Trigger. There is no story. Just kind of you wake up and it happens. So level notes. The beginning. Like every JRPG, you are woken up by your mom. Today is the day of the big Centennial Fair. We head inside and run into a girl, Marl. Marl and us become friends, so we play around the fair with her, find a robot, pick a racer, drink some games, dance to some tribal music, and test our strength. I would recommend not stealing the man's lunch, and maybe we should find the cat. I would use a potion or the points to trade in for some cash and buy some equipment. The big electronic presentation is about to begin, so let's watch. Marl volunteers and is sent back in time, so I guess we have to go after her. That was the opening of Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, that's its beats in a nutshell. Yeah, and it's like, I think it's solid. Like, kind of gets you jumped right into it. I'm trying to think. I'm like,
I literally
I
played.
guess
I played no mini games. I knew where to go. I just kind of basically blew through everything, ran into Marl, helped her out, and then went on to the electronic show. So all this stuff, I was like I know you can play and it's kind of fun and like there is points and like you get, but I'm like, I'm not going for 100%. I'm not going for the best ending. I'm just trying for speed. So I skipped everything.
Yeah. And it's like one of those things where you're like, I know they exist. Do I need to play mini games a second time or whatever? It's like, no. You can just let's skip past.
No
this.
mini games for fun. I only like to play mini games when there's a fun hat that I can get as a reward. I'm not doing this for enjoyment. I like hats, damn it. Oh, stupid.
Yes.
Just need
hats and only hats.
I just love them so much. Now that we have to travel back in time, though. So we track down Marl to the castle. We find out that they have mistaken her for a lost queen. But since Marl isn't the queen, they call off the search, so Marl can't exist. Luca travels back to help us, and we're off to find the queen. Somewhere, Frog joins. Literally at the cathedral. So it's the next point, cathedral. If by chance I by chanced into the cathedral, well, that's an interesting way of writing, and was attacked by a clergyman. This area isn't too hard or complicated, and there is one puzzle in this area. Hit some switches on the wall to open the way to the final area, and we have to fight the boss here, Yakra.
Yeah, I mean, man, you ripped through the first kind of like setup for this game, because you can kind of tell everybody's running a little seems a little off in this world. I mean, you just travel through time.
Yep.
But to know that like Marl's the princess, it's cool. I mean, I like how it's like just simple little stuff, but it like runs through what would normally be drawn out for forever in a regular games. Like, here's a quick little story to just get you on to the next section.
Yeah, no, seriously. And like some of these parts, I was surprised. An hour and a half, I was like in the future already. So like even past this first couple parts, and I was like, holy smokes, man, this game just flies. There is no downtime, right? You just kind of pick up and go, and that's some of the nice things, right? That you don't have to talk to everyone. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to check everything. It does make you, I don't know, there are some parts of this game that are a little bit intimidating because I'm like playing through it and I'm in the past. I'm at 600 AD instead of 1000 AD, which is kind of like our present, or at least where Chrono's from. So we're 400 years in the past, and there's treasure chests, and if you open them all, they're like potions. But apparently if you go into the future, they become better stuff. But sometimes weapons will like become rusted because they sat in a chest for 400 years. And it just seems like I want to know the sequence. I want to know how to do everything 100%, right? I want to be able to have that experience of being like, oh, cool. But it just seems like so much work to figure that stuff out, right? Like, and that's a little bit of an intimidation factor where I start running around a chest and I open something and I'm like, I kind of feel like this item isn't as good, or like a rusted sword. I bet you if I would have came here at a different time, I would have got a better sword. So that sucks.
Yes. I mean, and it's like always feels like you're leaving stuff out, and it leaves you second guessing. And I don't like that in games. It's cool to like explore, and maybe like if this was your only game on Christmas or whatever, you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
sure.
you know what? I can just do. I can just reload an old save, and then if something changes that I don't like, but yeah, I don't got time for that. Give me a proper walkthrough or an optimized walkthrough so I can just like know how to hit this box, that box, this spot. Almost like even just draw me out a line here. And like I've played too much Assassin's Creed where it's like, where's the yellow glowing line on the floor? That
Honestly, is that what it is? Like, because it is just like, and I like, is this the most mundane like Gen Z? Be like, oh, the game didn't show me which yellow arrow to go to which chest at what time, and like that's kind of what I want. And like I know it sounds stupid, but I want to be able to like build up that repertoire. So maybe it's, I don't know, get the reps in, learn those things. I don't like not knowing things.
Yeah. I feel like there's always that fear of just like, don't make me play this a second time just to, once I know all the like little tricks. And even then my fear is I don't have to play it a third time because I'll screw up the second perfect run. It's like, you know what, just tell me what I need to do.
Where's all the best armor and stuff right now? There was a part where a game where I was stuck a little bit and I was like, man, that was a tough fight. And I looked and they're like, make sure you attach all this armor and red magic. And I'm like, where the hell do you get the red magic armor? Where does that come from? So I definitely missed something along the line. And I was like, ugh, man, video games, they just stress you out. They stress you out. Let's see if we can get into the future on this next little go. So the return of the queen. So now that the real queen is safe, Marl returns to us and Frog leaves. Let us return to the present and take Marl, who is the princess, back to the castle. We are accused of kidnapping her, and she is sent to prison. We have to stand trial for our actions to determine if we are guilty or innocent. Did you check on the girl or the pendant? Did you help the girl find her cat? Did you steal the old man's lunch? Regardless of the outcome, you are sent to prison. Make your way through the dungeons. There's one mini-boss in this area, the dragon tank. And as we learned from the note in the guard room, he is invulnerable unless someone is crazy and runs up to him with a sword and starts attacking him. Once he is defeated, if you haven't explored every area, do it now. Otherwise, they'll run over the guards on the bridge. They will chase you into the forest, and we find a portal and head back to the future. But we're like way further. We're like going to 2000, or no, 10,000. When's Robo's time? Because I know the apocalypse happens
2300 AD.
20. Okay, yeah, sure, that makes sense. Yeah, because it's like 1999 is when the Lavos apocalypse happens. So I guess we don't know that yet. But we're to, so we head up at 2030, I don't know, 2000 something. We end up in Wasteland.
2,300.
Okay, 2,300. We end up in the Wasteland. We get some equipment from some survivors in a transdome. Brave Site 16 to find some survivors in the Ares Dome. These people need some supplies. We have to go to the lower depths, turn on computer terminals. And the boss here is the Guardians. This guy has two pods flying around him. Take out the pods and nullify his tech. Then you have to chase a rat to learn a unique passcode. Luke uses her computer knowledge to turn off the computer. Man, I just wrote everything down before, didn't I? It's just so much stuff.
You sure did.
I'm like, okay.
Look at me. Like, I just keep scrolling and seeing all the stuff you wrote down. That's just part one.
It's just like, okay, like I'm gonna summarize just a little bit. So when we're in the future, some of the areas we visit are, there's two civilian strongholds. There's a junkyard. At the end of the junkyard, there's not a boss fight. In fact, you actually have to race across it in kind of like a Mega Man a boss, or like a bike battle or something like that. So you kind of have to speed across. If you don't beat him, this jet bike guy's like, nope, we're back at the start, because that's how races work. I'm like, oh, cool, neat. From there, we can head to a protodome, which then sends us on this little quest, and we get to meet Robo, who is our new teammate. Cool.
Yeah, best pal.
Yeah. Learn a code, write it down. Yeah, that's kind of it. Anything else in the future? We have to go through there's a series of sewers you kind of have to solve. Nothing super crazy. You kind of, once you figure out a strategy on how to deal with the enemies, right, with your party requirements, it shouldn't be too bad, right? Battle them, solve a couple little puzzles, and you're off to the end of time. Cool.
Yeah. Kind of a quick little area, just rip through the future. And we just realized, I think this is more for the ambiance of just like everything's so advanced, like in 2,000 years. Like, wow, you guys have made a lot of stuff in 300 years, or whatever the heck it is. But it's also like, it's pretty bleak existence. We only really run into like monsters and robots.
And all the people are like huddled away in these domes talking about how they're starving. Oh, cool.
Yeah. This super, happy future for everyone. So I think that this just sets up like a cool little like, what the hell's going on? Like, why does it seem like this world is getting progressively worse?
Yeah, it is pretty bleak. And there is a, when do we find that out? I think now. Right? Somewhere here, there is a computer monitor. After you get Robo, you get access to a certain room. You go to a portal or you go to a console and you find out that in the year 1999, this being known as Lavos erupted from the Earth, which brought essentially a destruction to the planet, right? Destroyed the civilization that existed. And for 300 years, the human life and just life on the planet in general has been trying to live in this desolate wasteland, right? That is kind of just the wreckage of this destructive force, right? Which then essentially, like, first hour and a half of the game, you've traveled through time, you met a robot friend, and you're kind of meeting the end boss, Lavos. We must stop him, and everything that we do for the rest of the game essentially is just trying to stop him. It's nice and it's clean. We're not running somewhere to go find a flower to give a guy. No more flowers. We're actually
or saving a random princess. It's like, no. We got those bigger things at stake than saving up.
Yeah, and everything from here on out is basically Lavos focused, right? So it's good. It's nice, clean. I think that's probably what makes this game is crisp and clean. It's funny talking about how it was supposed to be on the disk drive, and then it was put back onto the Super Nintendo. So obviously they deleted a bunch of things, right? Things weren't going to work. They probably cut for content. They did the same thing with what's it called? Secret of Mana. But what they did was they removed the world map and made it awkwardly. You have to kind of like jump area to area on a magic dragon. That's how they got around that. That'll get rid of lots of your size. You don't have to make a cohesive world. Whereas this game, whatever they took out, like they were just like, we'll make a map, but we just want to put like random encounters. What a genius move, right? Like just the freedom and exploration that you get in this world. And as you're going around, you're like, none of this was a chore. This is delightful. At no point did I hate walking around the world. And it sounds silly, and it sounds like a weird thing to bring up and kind of comment, because you're like, isn't every game fun to move around? No. There are some games where like, I hate the hallway of giants in Final Fantasy 1. Great for grinding, but just like terrible idea. Let's torture you every single step down this hallway to fight the most powerful monster in the game. Cool. Awesome. Thanks, Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah, it's like neat concept, but gets old by the third battle. Yeah. And you're just like, oh my God, I've taken 3 steps.
Yeah.
So unnecessary. But in this game, like, I never feel like there's a section that's like more than like, it never gets past 10 screens. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just like these quick, like, you run in one room. Okay, here's a branching pathway. You go left, go right, and then maybe go forward. And they just like kind of keep doing that until you find your way. And it's like, before you know it, you're like, oh, I'm at the end. Like, it's,
yeah.
I feel like it's so easily laid out that you can almost like draw each screen. You can almost like imagine how they kind of like just like almost even programmed it. Like, it's just so simple and clean. And it just, when you do shit right, that looks like you didn't do anything at all. This game just makes it so effortlessly to just fly through it, and you're just like, wow, okay, we're already getting into like the let's fight Lavos. So like, man, this game is so easy to play. Like, even though you're doing it's so easy.
And we alluded to, there's a concept called New Game Plus, right? So after you beat this game, you basically can just pick up your characters where you left off, and like Tyson alluded to, you can now go fight Lavos. Once you're at the end of time, there's a pot. You can jump into Lavos and kill him right away and just end the experience, and it's over, right? So use an emulator. I think I have a hacked cart somewhere, and that's how I played the first time. And yeah, like I could put infinite health power, so I never die. And I could sit there and beat Lavos at this point, right? So really cool, interesting way of kind of building all the endings. And that's essentially where all the endings come from, is they kind of give you a different playthrough. So every time you play this game, it's a little different, which is kind of neat. And we're at, from when we left the distant future of 2300, we end up at the end of time. So we end up in a mysterious crossroad. It's because our party size is too big, so we're restricted to 3 members. So somebody has to stay here. Speakio is the weird magic monster who teaches us how to use magic. We head back to the present, find ourselves in a monster village with some weird chanting, a sage who sells us equipment, and we enter the Hekran Cave. In the Hekran Cave, we find some equipment and items. It isn't too long before we find the boss, Hekran. This guy's pretty tough, And after you beat him for a little while, watch his counterattacks, you learn that there was a war 600 years ago between humans and fiends. So we jump in a whirlpool, end up at Lucas' house, and travel back to the past to start the Fiend War.
Yeah. Again, kind of takes you on like a little bit of a side tangent, even though we're like, we should fight Lavos, but it's like, we should all, like, so we've been to the present, we've been somewhat to the past. It's like, let's figure out how deep this rabbit hole goes.
I think someone alludes to, though, that this war, this Fiend War, was maybe the epicenter for Lavos, right? There was something specific about this event, right? Something happened. That's when Lavos was first brought forth. There is some allusion to like why this is important, right? So it's not just like, well, we're going back in time. We're actually on like the hunt for trying to track down the mystery, right? So now we're back in 600. No, I think maybe 400. Although it says 600. So anyways, 400 or 600, wherever we are. We head to the Xena Bridge and learn that the troops are being supplied. We talk to a guard's brother, get some jerky. Hooray. We then learn that kind is sick and a hero is searching for a weapon in the south to end the war. Okay. We fight some guy named Ozzy on a bridge. He summons Zombor. He's a big skeleton guy, obviously. He's like a zombie warrior guy. Zombor. After you defeat him, you talk to the folks in truce. Don't buy anything. Then head south. Why not buy anything? Son of a gun.
Maybe because you get a few of these things later on.
And it's cheaper, and you're wasting your money, and you run around, and you just, they had so many cool hats. Damn it. Then head south to Doran and buy stuff. Then headed to the Cursed Forest. We run into Frog, but he won't join us for some reason because he's basically feeling defeated. He can't win. He lost his magic sword. It's been destroyed. What are we to do? Off to the mountain, where we search for a weapon in Adaro Mountains. This area isn't too hard. We just take our time and explore. At the end, we meet Massa and Moon, two children playing in a cave. They ask us to challenge them. We fight Massa and Moon, but they're pretty simple until they become Massa Moon. Once they have the hilt, and once they're defeated, they give us the hilt of a sword that we can go back to Frog, and he complains that it's still broken, but I believe he gives us the other unbroken part. But we need like thousands of years to reforge it or something.
Yes, yeah. Hint, hint. Who would have figured you need a little time travel? Mm-hmm. But I mean, you got a pretty powerful sword, and I think like there's a cool little item description that says something along the lines of like, can only be wielded by the hero or something like that.
Okay.
And you're like, well, but can I equip it to Chrono? And you're like, hint, hint. I like how they're doing these things where it's kind of like, it's setting up the other characters. Like Chrono honestly doesn't get a super ton of development in this first chunk of the game.
In this game.
That's fair. I feel like he has one or two things, but that's he's basically left to be, what's it when the player puts themselves in the eyes of the video game player?
Third person perspective, role play. You're in the character. It's your character. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Your point of view character?
Yes. I thought there was a term for it, but okay. I honestly cannot remember. And sorry, my cat was distracting me. But yeah, it's I like how they leave Chrono kind of blank and they just develop everybody else. Everybody else seems to have these like really interesting characters, and I don't know. For me, it's a toss up when you like think of this game. I think of some actual. I think of Frog and Robo. So to get them so early on, it's like I'm happy that they're here.
Yeah,
it feels like the boys are back together.
And true, and we do as we go through, we can kind of learn most of the side quests in this game actually are just more kind of diving into these characters' backstories. We learn a lot more about them. We can finish up their stories. Whereas the blank slate of that is Chrono, right? We can kind of just use him as like our template character, right? He's just kind of our damn it, I don't know what the word is.
Right?
Our person, our avatar in this world, right? He's just kind of us.
Yeah.
We wake up and he says, go on an adventure. And it's just, you're a good guy and you want to help out your friends, right? And that's really all Chrono does. He'll make the sacrifices. He makes the calls. But really, he's just kind of the blame hero. But it is kind of neat how you kind of pick up these hints, right? It does kind of make you think. I think this is definitely an older person game, right? So as a kid, as an 8 to maybe 13, 14-year-old, I don't know if you'd have as much fun if you got this game when you were like 15, 16, and you could dive through and like think about the mystery and wonder like, how do I forge a sword that needs this material that hasn't existed for millions of years? I know! We can go back to the time because we time travel. That's amazing. I'm so smart. I'm glad I thought of that. But I couldn't have. I was too dumb ever to play this game. So I need a walkthrough. So now that we know to travel back in time, we travel back to the present to meet a blacksmith who knows something about the sword and how it's broken. But we need to find something called the Dreamstone, which hasn't existed for 100 million years. So we travel back to 100 million BC and meet a sexy cat lady. She invites us to her tribe and throws a big celebration. We get drunk in a drinking contest called Skull Smash, and we wake up hung over. In the morning, we find out that the reptile people have stolen our time machine. We chase them down into the forest maze. I like that this game calls things mazes, but that are pretty straightforward. Oh, you're so funny. And into the lair. This place has a weird falling in the ground puzzle. It's not too hard. The boss here is a big triceratops. I really jumped through that whole castle, didn't I? All right, cool.
Yeah, well, I think this game just like I said earlier, it just clips along. Like before you know it, you're like, okay, having a conversation here. Okay, we're at the boss's house. There's no like, okay, let's walk across this field. Now walk through these cross this river. It's like no, you just go to where you need to go and then start the next section. It's like I appreciate this game's respect for my time.
Yeah, true. No, and that's fair. It does move quick, right? That's a nice thing about this. You're like, oh, we're off to the next area. I just got into this.
Oh, but this spot actually kind of is a bit of a maze. I think I can't remember, maybe with Robo's place, but this has the little spots where like you can fall down the wrong hole.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah, that one. I mean, Tyson said there are kind of dungeons. They don't feel like dungeons. Like this one, it's just a series of rooms that have holes in the floor, and you just randomly jump down them, and then sometimes you end up at the end, and you're like, cool.
Yes.
Yep,
yeah, and you're just like, sure, don't know if I missed anything, and the part of me is screaming to go back and check every hole, but I trudge onwards.
And this is like exactly the part of the game where I'm in like a very confusing multi-level dungeon, and just my first, like, I'll be like, left, right, up, down, left, and I'm out. And I'm like, did I just solve that in one try? That's sweet. But yeah, the part of me that says, but there's so much red mail and potions and shelters in those treasure chests. Don't you have to go back? And I say, yep. And then I can't find my way out later. So,
yeah.
But now that we've defeated the Triceratops, we get our time machine back, which I think is just the necklace and Dreamstone. So that's pretty exciting. So we can head back to our time, forge the two parts of the sword with the Dreamstone. Now that the Masamune has been forged, we can go see Frog, who becomes a hero again, and we learn his backstory. From here, though, we can fight our way through a magic cave. I believe Frog can now, with the Masamune, destroy the protective rock, and we can get in there. We can now confront Magus. Now all we have to do is raid the Fiend Lord's Keep. This place does have a lot of enemies, so it makes you stocked up on items. Ozzy reminds me of kind of a Dragon Ball Z character, maybe Dodoria. But design, let's see how he acts. We chase him through the second half of the dungeon. He tries to trap us. The boss, Ozzy, he's pretty invincible in his ice armor, but what you actually have to do is you have to hit the levers around the room so that he falls into the basement, and we can go fight the man who apparently is summoning Lavos as we speak, Magus. Cool.
Yes. You did skip over Slash and Flea, which I was like, Ozzy / Flea. Come on now, now we're just making heavy metal references. I know what you game designers are up to.
Yep.
Or would that be the localization team? I don't know. Anyways, someone was big into
little heavy metal. Yeah. Okay.
Just one of those things. And I think Slash, you have to actually slash and do physical damage, and then Flea, you have to use magic or something.
Or vice versa. I know they are magic and physical attackers. So yeah, it's just a matter of figuring out what kind of strategy works, making sure you can do a lot of damage.
Yep.
Moves.
And then yeah, like honestly, again, one of those dungeons that doesn't feel like a dungeon.
You go into a room, there's a branching path. It's like 2 rooms. You run around each of them. All of a sudden, there's like a glowing portal. You press it, then you can run either side, fight the bosses, run up the middle, and you're chasing Ozzy through a couple rooms, right? Like very, very straightforward, very simple. As I'm saying, kind of walking through my head, I'm like, yep, there's literally 6 rooms in that one area. That's like the first third of the dungeon. It's not overbearing. It's not long hallways. It's not just waste your time. It's like, no, have fun. Play a story. Let's go. And you see that kind of just the game design, level design. Maybe that's a side effect of being put back on the Super Nintendo, right? Maybe that's one of the things they cut was like, we're just going to cut our level design and make this game shorter. A phenomenal idea, right? Regardless of what it was or how it came about, they nailed it out of the park. It makes it very, very accessible. For the final boss and kind of the part where we're going to talk about Magus, his theme song is awesome. And I've heard it everywhere. Like, if you go and listen to Magus's battle theme, you'll be like, oh my god, like every YouTuber uses that as like their intro or like section or like outro song. It's a very catchy, very popular, very Final Fantasy sounding song.
Yeah, but not quite Final Fantasy. I'm telling you, this got a great soundtrack where I feel like I was just like, man, that's the other reason why this game's always been just kind of like awesome. It's like the soundtrack just is wicked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it like top to bottom presentation wise, it looks beautiful, it looks clean, it's fun to play, it's short, it's straightforward, it's just. See, I tried to say something negative. I told you, I was like, I'm going to say some bad stuff. I don't think it exists. This game is pretty delightful. It's pretty great. And yeah, that's it. So that's where we're going to end. We're going to come back, kind of run you through. I'm going to definitely clean up the notes next time. I apologize to everyone for putting you guys through that and for listening to these podcasts the first time through. If you did, or when I have to do it in the future, I apologize to myself. I'm sorry that you did that to yourself. That's a shame. You didn't know what you're doing. You'd learn. But summary, make it quick. It's much better to talk and to talk about parts of the game rather than just tell you exactly what you did. Hit the blue switch before the red switch, or you're going to have a bad time.
Oh, yeah. It's that's kind of the thing with this game where, like, if you know once I said, once you know what you're doing, you just kind of like rips through it. But I appreciate it because like the story is streamlined. Like, yeah, this game we just played it. I feel like this game would have been like one of our childhood favorites.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not that much reading. Like, and each section is not that hard. Like,
you know
if you kind of know where you're going, this game just like really is just like so streamlined. And if that is like you said, if that's a sign of like them having to like reduce it, I'm all for that. I kind of almost prefer like a quicker it almost feels like a really refined like indie RPG these days where it's just like but with no grinding and all story and everything is interesting. You just move through it and then before you know it the game's basically over and you're like, well, wow, that's Chrono Trigger. It's like, yeah, it's like that's a great game.
And some of your points are interesting too, right? Like, just, I mean, based on where we're at in our lives and kind of how things popped up, had the PS1 remix that was a release, you know, from the 2001, had we got our hands on that game at that point, I'm sure we would have been into this 100%, right? Would have been right in our wheelhouse, teenage boys. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is probably like that perfect age to get into. You can talk about with your friends. Maybe you have some access to like early online at that point. You had a great time, great experience. It just happened to kind of blip by our radars, but that's part of this podcast, being able to go back and kind of pick up those pieces, those kind of missing links of our kind of video game knowledge, those experiences we didn't get to have and have them, right, and talk about them and document them. So I'm excited that we're kind of diving back into this again, and it's as positive now as it was when we played this game 15 episodes ago, right? So it's kind of neat, and yeah, I'm sleepy, obviously.
yeah, no, that's fair. But it's all a game. I mean, I'm more than impressed with this game every time I go back to it. Just like, you know, I find more and more to appreciate with this game every time I play it, as opposed to some other games where like I played it once, I'm good.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, where did I put this on my top 10 list? Maybe afterwards I'll look and be like, what am I doing? Probably have it on my phone, actually. I'll probably just look.
It might even be on Discord if we scroll up.
Yeah, it's probably somewhere. I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, what are you up to? Where did I have it? 8 under Earthbound, Final Fantasy. Yeah, I don't hate it. Okay. I'm not going to hate
I
myself
got
yet.
it at 4, so
Yeah.
I'm still proud of
Yeah,
myself.
good for you. Good for you. Current thoughts. I really like this game. Yeah, like we kind of just alluded, it's a pretty fun, streamlined, quick experience, right? Definitely could have done this whole game had I cleaned up the notes a little bit as kind of one show. I looked at like the 5 pages of notes that I had for each show, and I was like, oh, we got to do this as 2 shows. That's way too much. But editing, next show you'll get a lot of editing. Go from there, and yeah, just leave it there. You want to just do a quick cultural significance, get out of here, and then kind of leave more gushing and nice praise for our next show.
Yeah, we're not done it yet.
Yeah.
So let's save it for next time, and let's go through some cultural significance.
Cool. So what we're gonna do, 2 topics for this game, because oh man, I like really dropped the ball in this one. Came to me last night, and I was like, that sucks. So today we're gonna look at the most collectible video game items. Just most rare video games according to some lists. And then next week we're probably going to talk about time travel in video games, but no, that's not what we're going to do, because New Game Plus is definitely the topic we're going to look at. So and I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely what this game does. If you're interested in time travel, but it's still expensive. It's still part of the NES or the Super Nintendo trilogy, right? Earthbound, Final Fantasy VI, and Chrono Trigger. If you have all those, especially like a nice boxed copy, they're like the rarest games. It's definitely kind of that crown jewel of your collection, right? So let's look at some lists put together by some English people, because everything's in pounds, of the most expensive or collectible video games or sales in the last couple years. Ready?
Ready.
All right, so number 10, we have Tetris for the Sega Genesis, which sold for $2,500 to, I don't know why there's a range, £14,000.
Yeah. I don't understand. Maybe that's the buy it now price and the bid starting here.
Or that was
price.
like the auction price. Maybe that's what it sold at auction. Went to that, right? Also listed, we have first editions of Zelda, Mega Man, or Final Fantasy on the NES can go for a pretty hefty amount at auction.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, any of the original, like those are big games, but like every time there's those early Nintendo consoles, like, there's, if you have a first edition or one of those things like minting copy, it's like you have cash.
Yeah.
And people will buy that.
It's true. It's so easy to buy video games. They're just worth so much money in the future. Anyways, number 9, we have Nintendo World Championship. So a copy of this, one of the original cartridges, go from $13,000 to £70,000 at sale.
I mean, I could believe that. That one's a hefty one, because there's like a limited copies. So
yeah, there's a couple I made notes on, because one of them. Okay, that one we'll get to it. Birthday Mania for the Atari also went from £13,000 to £30,000.
I don't know about. I have no idea about this game.
Yep. No. About King of Fighters 2000 for the Neo Geo, £3,500 to £5,000. It's less money than the other ones, but for some reason on the list it was higher, so that's how I included it. Okay.
Sounds good. They must be King of Fighters fans.
suppose.
I mean, this should probably be near the bottom of the list, but whatever.
Yeah. How about Wrecking Crew for the NES? Factory sealed, sold for £3,500 in 2012.
Hey, that's a.
It might have been rareness too. Like it might be like no one else exists. It only sold for this, but like only one exists of Wrecking Crew in like factory sealed.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Number 5. Now we've got a couple ones here at the top. We're like, yeah, cool, awesome. Number 5, Dead Space Ultra Limited Edition. Just sold for $1,920 or $1,920 because only 1,000 copies were made.
Yeah, again, one just like a common game, but limited run of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, gotta make sense. Like number 4, NBA Elite 11 for the PS3. If you had a copy of this, you could get about $17,000.
Interesting.
The game was apparently canceled before it was released, but it was already like printed, and so if somehow you got a copy of this game that was never sold, it makes it quite rare.
I could see that. A game that was literally just didn't even hit shelves.
Man,
and you have a copy of it.
There's some guy out there who worked at a GameStop who was a nerd who was like, man, basketball's stupid. Everyone who likes basketball's stupid. Now this game's canceled and I can't even sell these games. I'm throwing them in the dumpster. You stupid idiot.
Oh, like when I used to work at a game store, like sometimes they're like, take these games. You don't need to ship them back. Just take them down to the compactor and just like crush these things. And you're like, I'm not doing that. These will get crushed and added to a shelf somewhere.
Perfect.
So I did save though a couple of those, but when I got rid of my collection a long time ago, a lot of them just disappeared. I gave them out to people. They're like, why do you have this random game? It's like, got zeroed out.
NBA Elite 11 PS3, man. No one never even got sold. I just got a bunch of them.
I think it was the PS2 Street Fighter Anniversary Collection that got like zeroed out. Like, and I was like, this is actually like a kind of a rare game because I've been wanting to buy it. But and I gave it to my old system manager when he left, and I was like, there you go, man.
Sweet.
Take this thing. We were both fighting over it, but
that's awesome.
It's yours.
That's sweet.
So.
Okay. Number 3, we got the Blockbuster World Championship 2 for the Sega Genesis, which sold for £9,000.
Yeah. Another one of those limited tournament cartridges. Yeah. Wish they did these things nowadays.
Number 2, we have the Super Mario Brothers, the Asian version, £22,000.
I wonder why that one specifically.
I don't know. I thought they were so cheap. I'm pretty sure at one point I saw like you can get a table, and they just made a table out of like Super Mario cartridges because they're like it's cheaper than wood.
I see now. I read Asian version, and I was like, do they mean non-Japanese?
Maybe. Okay. Oh yeah, sure. Like a release through India or something, or other parts of what other countries make up Asia? Russia,
China, India. Vietnam, I think.
Mario Bros.
You're asking a guy who's not very good at
if I had a map,
geography questions.
If I only had a map,
yes.
Yeah, I don't know what makes it
anywhere.
Different. Super Mario Brothers. I copied this. Yeah, that's probably what it means. It's just other parts of that weren't released, so maybe just released in small quantities, not bought as well, disappeared, weren't taken care of. Cool, sweet.
Yeah. Or I wonder if definitely like the Chinese version, or like Korea.
Oh yeah,
Taiwan.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then number 1, Gamma Attack for the Atari, sold for £443,000.
Okay.
Obviously, it's like one of a kind, I guess.
Yeah, Atari game. Who pays money for Atari games? But somebody did.
Yeah, someone did. They sure did. So, but that
only 2 known copies in existence. That's why.
Yeah, I think it has rareness. I think that's what it was most expensive. It was rarest. So they dubbed this was a one and only, but it sold for $2. Oh, okay, well.
That would make sense.
That would make sense. Yeah, like I have a in-box copy
King of Fighters
Wayne Gretzky's hockey for the Wii that I'm keeping, and one day it'll be the only one in existence. It's not going to be worth money, but it will be the rarest copy of Wayne Gretzky's hockey for the Wii. So,
yeah, that's my Chrono Trigger DS sealed copy.
I opened mine for this game, for this show. Yeah. Did I fuck up?
See. I don't know. Wonder what a sealed copy is going
like
for.
Like $90. I also was playing on my like limited edition Zelda 3DS that goes for like $500. Like I was walking around at one point like $600 of video games in my pocket, just being like, I have a This podcast has just become us talking about how rich we are.
Oh, maybe a little. And we're not rich.
No. Oh God, no. That was definitely a joke. So. Again, if you guys could like and subscribe and send some money to my Patreon, I'd really love to not have to put another cat down this week.
Don't make that joke. That's terrible. I'm trying to find a sealed DS copy because I can find open ones. Sealed, yeah. So an open one is going for like 200-ish, and a sealed one is going for like 400-ish.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing 300, and then oh my God,
this one's factory sealed for 205, but it has 7 bits, so it's for sure selling. There's the buy it now for 411, but I seem to get, and there's another one for 300. So, and I seem to get terrible eBay prices. I don't know. I once compared with somebody else, and it's like, how come you get different eBay searches than I get eBay searches, and yours are cheaper by like several cents?
Weird.
And mine are all somewhat expensive, and I have to look up like the exact other ID.
Weird.
Yeah, and I was like, why is it like this? It's the same search. I don't know. I don't trust you, eBay.
Yeah.
I feel like you're always trying to screw me.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Cool. Sweet. So that wraps up our, at least first show, our 150th, not so much celebration, but look back at what is one of the finer video games, right? In terms of retro video gaming, one of the funner titles you could probably dive into, get into. Probably just spinning my tires here trying to say something nice, so I'll probably get closer to saying done for today. We'll be back probably in a month to wrap this guy up. I think kind of the start of July is kind of what we're aiming for. Do kind of a big blowout show and then kind of get ready and just keep on trekking along with some fun quality titles as we go to 200. Boop, boop.
Absolutely. Hopefully we got some more good games, because we were joking earlier about how we've been through a bit of a rough stretch. So I don't know, maybe we pull a bunch of good games in a row and we're like, let's have a good 12 months of just fun.
Well,
then we
we
can start
started this year.
some...
We're trying to be a little more kind to ourselves. There's some stuff that we're just skipping. Like Jet Force Gemini was just both tested for 5 minutes and we've said nope. So that's exciting.
Yeah. It's nice that we're doing that. That doesn't means that we're probably not going to play another Final Fantasy VIII for the foreseeable future. So
and like see it all the way through. At least by like Golden Sun 2 we quit. So
yeah, we're learning our lesson.
I did,
and now we're doing that before we even
100 character password, and I didn't get all my hats from the last game, and I said I don't want to play this game anymore. So that's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, I thought I did this right. It didn't work.
Yep.
Not doing it again.
Oh, it doesn't just pull your stats over and I have to grind? No, thank you. No, thank you.
Yep.
But yes, thank you for how great Chrono Trigger is, and we'll see you guys back in a month. Like I said, we'll do a kind of a end Chrono Trigger, do that big blow up show. Look forward to it. Be fun.
Yep.
Cool. Okay.
Anyways,
Till then.
see you.
Bye.
Bye.